You have no idea how many times I died in the game, not because I'm bad at the game, but just because the game is not smooth or fluid, and the combat is extremely frustrating.
You, I am afraid, are made in this.
I honestly don't feel like I'm having fun in the game. When I see enemies or mobs waiting around, I don't look at them with anticipation of having a fun combat exchange. I just think to myself, oh my god, I'm gonna get hit in the face again through no fault of my own.
I don't fucking get it. I don't fucking get it! I don't get it, bro. No, no! I hate you, anime! Why did you do this? Frick!
Dude, come on! Like fuck, how are you supposed to know he's gonna do that, dude? I don't.
No! Roll, you fuck! You're chugging down a big fucking thing, or you're throwing your dagger and you can't roll in time, man.
Did you see that?
I mean, like, dude, see how many kunais he's throwing you.
Should Elden Ring have an easy mode? That is the question being asked by many people nowadays. It feels like every time From Software releases a new title, there's always the question as to whether there should be an easy mode for the game or not. However, because of the grandiose nature of a release for a game like Elden Ring, it truly feels like this conversation is being had more so than it has ever had in the past. Oftentimes, the direct response to the question as to whether From Software games should be more accessible in terms of game difficulty is met with the statement, "Get good, scrub." As many, if not most, of the core fan base of these games believe in them being difficult as part of their personality. And while I happen to enjoy with the game difficulty and agree that it is a core part of their personality, I don't think the difficulty being a part of the personality is the reason we like the difficulty in the first place. I think it goes much deeper in that in terms of a game design perspective. Take a game like Skyrim, for example. It has 6 difficulty levels, ranging from novice to master. Many people might not realize this, but the amount of work it takes to balance each of these difficulty settings properly in order for them to feel properly scaled to each other is no easy feat, and arguably it could be functionally impossible, particularly when it comes to the investment in balancing these difficulties into massive open worlds. Games nowadays are getting very, very large and very complex. Each new release from many modern game developers is doing something or another to increase the scale of their game, whether it's the graphics, the size of the world, etc. Developers are constantly pushing themselves to create the next big hit. However, when it comes to any piece of art, if you focused on one aspect of the art, you inherently must sacrifice focus on other aspects. Unfortunately, things like time and funding are very limited for many game developers, especially depending on the pressures that they face from their publishing companies. While this does not leave developers free from criticism, it certainly is something important to consider when understanding the creations of games and art in general. From Software creates some of the most complex and amazing worlds and levels that we have seen from the fantasy genre, and games like the original Dark Souls shows their mastery of world and level design in an unmatched way. For Elden Ring, it really shows that they wanted to take their skills and push it to the limit in how big and full they can create a world. Honestly, the main draw of Elden Ring is how absolutely full the world is while also being incomprehensibly large in many ways. The fullness of the world of Elden Ring is certainly no small feat, and on top of that, it's relatively seamless. except for the PC version. We have not seen a world this grand and full of character and personality in a really long time, if ever. And this is important to understand because just like every other game developer in existence, From Software has a limited amount of time and resources to produce these amazing games that they give us. One of the most common criticisms of From Software is their reuse of assets, whether it's enemies, weapons, armors. The Soul series and their other series share many different items and enemies. This is very intentional to allow them to spend valuable resources elsewhere. This is the core of the ideology behind the difficulty of their games as well. They take a massive amount of care into the game's only difficulty to balance it as perfectly as possible to make it, yes, difficult, but not unfair in most scenarios. Obviously, this does not always work out perfectly. Many of us Souls veterans remember the initial issues with Dark Souls 2 and its problems with the type of difficulty. There were many criticisms with how the levels were designed in terms of both placements of traps and enemy ambushes, and oftentimes occurring simultaneously. This made people feel like they were being put in unfair situations in which the game does not give you proper time to react to the situation that you're being put in. At the time, these criticisms were met with similar statements of the just get good scrub that the Souls community is known for. However, in the updated version of Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin, they put effort into changing the enemy placement to generally make it more fair. Now, at this point, you might be asking, Arms, why are you talking about such an old game? And what does this have to do with Elden Ring? My point is that From Software knows what they're doing with their games. Their decisions are very intentional. From Software does not want to make an easy mode, and they probably never will make an easy mode for any of their games, as long as they're able to uphold their creative vision. And I personally value a company that is willing to uphold its creative vision, even in the face of potential backlash. However, they are also not ones to ignore criticism as to how their games are designed. I certainly think that there are many criticisms from Elden Ring that there are just people complaining about not wanting to put in the effort and the time to learn the game and, quote unquote, get good. However, there are also certainly many valid criticisms, particularly with the bugginess of the game at launch. It's very difficult to get a large world like this right on the first try, especially with the obvious amount of effort that's gone into making this world as expansive and full as it is. As I've stated already, for those of you who want an easy mode in this game, it won't be coming, I can guarantee it. However, there is no doubt that there will be balance changes and fixes in the coming months and years that we will be enjoying this game, as From Software has showed in the past that they are willing to admit when they were wrong and fix their games. While general rebalances might not be good enough for those of you demanding an easy mode, I think it's important that you understand that you are not entitled to an easy mode, and you are never entitled to choose the direction in which a piece of art goes. It would be unreasonable for someone to complain that scary movies are too scary so that they should be less scary to satisfy their enjoyment of the art. I don't think Elden Ring is 100% perfect, and I'm sure From Software knows it isn't either. What the future holds for Elden Ring is certainly uncertain. However, there is one thing that we can all be confident in, and it is that From Software's dedication to their art and creative vision and their ability to admit when changes can be made will make this game better, and hopefully it will make it better for you. Hi, thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. I've been putting every ounce of free time I've had into Elden Ring, so that should explain the lack of videos recently. Whether you disagreed or agree with me, let me know in the comments down below. I'd really appreciate a discussion about this. Also, please leave a like if you enjoyed it. It means the world. I am planning to continue Elden Ring content as well as continuing with the Terraria content that we've already had on this channel. I think those games are pretty compatible in terms of who would like them anyway, so I think it works out. That being said, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. Goodbye for now.